Welcome to Egg Shorts. I'm Kalen. With me is my father, Brandon. Today we talk about keeping hay from rotting or spoiling once we've received it from a producer. So go.
Yeah, we don't have a indoor place to put
Mm-mm.
hay to store hay. I mean, a lot of producers do that to keep it out of the elements, sun as well. It'll bleach, hay out on the outside, but you get some rain, you get some snow. They'll cover it with tarps, and then you got another issue. If you've got any moisture on there and it's covered with a tarp, sometimes it's hot and humid under there. So
Mm-hmm.
mold is what you normally see is the biggest deal. Um, so you try to put it up the same way or store it the same way it came to you, and by that I mean some of the square bales. There's two different types. We have the square bales are the tougher. They're easy to stack. I mean, you can go 15 feet in the air with these things. Literally, your top bale is like 15 foot, but the problem with it is it has sat in a stack, and one bale's been on the ground on a stack, or a tier of bales, and so it'll pick up some dirt, or you may get some moisture from the ground that way, if it's not sitting on gravel or something of the like. And then your top one is, if it's not been covered, and some guys are, they're turning this hay out so fast after they produce it that they're getting it right out, and it isn't worth covering to them, or they can't get it into a place, and so it will get some rot on it, or it's basically sun damaged, and a little bit of rain has started to get in there, so it may have a little bit of mold potential. And so it'll come to you that way, where the bottom of it's got the dirt, the top's got the stack, and I pull it off the truck and I try to stack that back down. If I see a bale that's got some dirt on the bottom, obviously that come off the ground, I'll try to put that back on the ground. And then the ones that are on the top, you can see a little bit of spoilage or a little bit of discoloration on the top that's obvious from the rest of them, that's different. Then I'll set it to the side, or I'll try to pick two of them up at a time, and the ones that are really nice and fresh and have been on the inside, I'll stick them inside and then put those ones on top, so that you're not starting to rot an entirely different bale, and have that in the middle of your tier or your stack, and then kind of spreading that stuff out. So that's one way to kind of store it when it comes to you. The other part that is kind of nice to do, that I learned from a guy that used to feed a lot of cattle, and he's working for a fellow that delivers the hay. He said, get up there with a bunch of salt, and just salt the top of that stack. Once it's done, put a little bit of a spread of salt across that. Doesn't have to be real heavy, and that will stop a lot of that mold action. With that,
Hmm.
I didn't know that.
Interesting.
You always learn something. How different people, different parts of roles in agriculture can have some tricks of the trade. So put that on there, kind of stop that, and water will drive that down in there. And what's the bad part about having salt on cattle? Not much anything, because they need it
Easy.
anyway. And you're
Yeah.
putting in such little trace amounts that it's not going to be an issue. And so that was nice. The
Well,
other,
just over a minute left. What's the best formation you found? Is it pyramid? Is it stacking it where bales are on their end and then bales are on their sideways to kind of shed water? Or is it
yeah.
just make giant sausage rolls?
Now you're talking the round bales. I was talking
Right.
square bales before. This is round bales, and yeah, I've tried every configuration to see the best to shed water and not cause any more problems. And really, the best way to do that is lay them on the ground and push them up tight, end to end, in like a sausage roll, and the insides where they meet will stay really well, and those round bales shed water well. The only problem is on the bottom where they're touching the ground. Same as any other bale. If there's no drainage there, or not enough drainage, then you're going to get some spoilage there. But it takes a lot of real estate to do that, to lay those out in sausage rolls. So we've got a big enough hay yard that we can do all of our hay that way. But that hay yard is pretty full when we're done, and it's not up in the air, but it's laid out and a little bit easier to get a hold of, and it prevents the rot as much as you can. Doesn't eliminate it, but it sure reduces a lot. Pyramid style is probably the absolute worst, because you're shedding down from the top to the other three below it, and those, if you're going higher than that, which rarely see that, usually it's 3, 2, 1 pyramid. and you'll get that rain shed from the top to the bottom next to, and then down to your other three. So that's I just cringe when I see guys do that. But I mean, to each their own.
That's us and spoiling or rotting hay.